but had hoped Philip would change his mind at the last minute, that he would decide to come home after all. "It is absurd," Jeanie sighed, though with a note of resignation. "I think it is cruel that we must shut ourselves away from the world during a time like this, when it is companionship and diversion that we most need." Audrey agreed wholeheartedly, but, as she had for the last 3 months, bit her tongue. She was trapped, it seemed, in an unending miasma of mourning, guilt, and anger. And yet there was the silver lining of possibility too, because legally, and in the eyes of king and country, Philip Sinclair, the Duke of Fornia, was dead. She, Audrey Sinclair, the Duchess of Fornia, was a widow, a dowager duchess now, in fact. But it was all a lie, and Audrey feared she would never be free from it. "I need no entertainment, Jeanie. You, Michael, and little George, of course, have been an excellent diversion this summer," she assured her sister-in-law, the new Duchess of Fornia. Michael, as the second son and spare heir, had only recently been granted the title of Duke. What could have taken the House of Lords months, even a year, to declare Philip dead and pass along the title, had taken a much shorter time than usual. The fact that there had been no body recovered had concerned some members of the House. Perhaps the Duke was only missing. Perhaps he had not drowned off the shores of Marseille, when a storm had rushed in, churning the seas and sweeping away the Duke, as his valet Grayson and several witnesses on the beach had reported. For Philip was a strong swimmer, as Michael proclaimed when he was in denial that his brother was gone. He might have washed ashore elsewhere, dashed his head and lost his memory. A weeks-long search was launched, but he was not found. After 2 months, a consensus among the house was reached. The Duke was dead. It was just as Philip had required, a death where his body would not and could not be returned to England for burial. He'd gone through with it. The proverbial nail in the coffin. There could be no coming back from this lie, and before he'd left he had vowed more than once that he would never attempt it, that he would never endanger whatever future Audrey made for herself by returning and exposing himself as alive and well, though there had been many times when Audrey had wished to fall asleep and wake up miraculously 4 months in the past. Once arrived, she would try again to change Philip's mind. Although 4 months in the past would make it the month of March, and the events of that month had been wretched and heartbreaking. Audrey had helped to solve the murder of Miss Eloisa Neetham and prove Bow Street officer Hugh Marsden innocent of the crime, which had revolved around the illegitimacy of his half-siblings and an incestuous relationship that still made Audrey's stomach clench with revulsion whenever she thought of it. She and Jeanie stepped onto the crushed gravel circle in front of Greenbrier, and Audrey breathed in deeply. Surely, to Jeanie, she appeared to simply be taking in the fresh mid-August air, heavy with the scent of freesia and rose from the garden beds, trimming the exterior brick. But in truth, Audrey often found it difficult to breathe whenever she thought of Philip, or of Hugh for that matter, though for entirely different reasons. The itch to be on her way caused her waiting barouche landau, her trunks loaded onto the back rack, to look like it was miles away rather than a few yards, and Jeanie's pulling arm like an anchor. Audrey wasn't eager to be alone at Fornia Downs, but her spacious empty home in Hertfordshire was vastly preferable to the one house party guest whom she would most like to avoid, the new Viscount Neetham, better known to Audrey as Hugh Marsden. "Cassie will be upset to have missed you," Jeanie said. Philip's younger sister had spent all of June with them at Greenbrier, but had been in Brighton for most of July with a party of friends.